Good evening, this is Kyle from CAD Technology Center and welcome to the presentation. Today we're going to be talking about the Revit Express Tools, some tips and tricks that I found, and there's some basic ones, but if you have any questions, please use your question panel and submit a question, and then I'll save some time either on the tool that I'm going to be covering or at the end of the session if it's a kind of a general question. This session is being recorded and it will be posted to our YouTube channel afterward. And again, welcome to this presentation. So I'm going to start off here with just going into what we're going to kind of be covering. I got some tips and tricks that I found to be pretty useful in using our tools, our Revit Express tools, some in the BIM Manager suite and some in the project suite. So ones that come in the BIM Manager suite is going to be a few here, but some of the project suite ones, we have our very popular tool Spreadsheet Link that I'm going to be showing some cool formulas and things like that you can use, and just some of the other tools to help with the process of making them more handy inside Revit, and some things that other clients have been using as well. So I'm going to go back here to Revit, and I'm going to be showing you just some of the tools here. So I'm going to go back to a view here, and the first one I wanted to talk about was there was one client, a couple of cases I've had where they wanted to put a revision on a sheet, and they wanted that revision to populate in multiple sheets. Currently we don't have a tool that does this, but one of the things I found with a cool trick inside Revit itself, and then using one of our tools, is I'm going to come back in, I'm going to create a revision, and I'm going to make it revision 2 here, and I'm going to draw it on a sheet. I'm going to finish. So here it shows up in the schedule as on the sheet. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to use the copy to clipboard, and then I'm going to do paste align to selected views. And then while I'm on a sheet here, it shows it up for sheets. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it to all my sheets, except for this view I already have it. So I'm going to hit OK. And now this revision is going to appear on every single sheet, and then it's going to show up in the schedule. But then the problem here is you have the cloud on every single one of your sheets. So what we have then is in our BIM Manager suite, we have Revision Cloud Remover. And with this particular tool, there is a setting down here at the bottom of Keep Revisions on Sheet. So I'm going to select Revision 2, Keep Revisions on Sheet, and say Remove. So then it removes it from the schedule, or from the sheet, but does not remove it from the schedule. So now if I go to a second sheet, it appears on that sheet as well. So now I can quickly and easily get revisions on a sheet in the schedule, but not actually have the cloud. So it does take a few extra steps to draw that revision cloud, copy it to other sheets, and then remove it using Revision Cloud Remover. So that is just one tip I found with that particular tool that uses a combination of a feature inside Revit and then our tool itself. Now most of the tips and tricks that I've really found very handy are more in our project suite, because these are geared toward a lot more of the everyday user. So I found a few that I wanted to discuss here with Spreadsheet Link. So I'm going to go into a view here. And one of the first things I wanted to go over that's really nice about this tool is we do have our renumbering tool, which I wanted to mention here about this tool, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a cool trick you can use with Spreadsheet Link and renumbering here. Is I have my room numbers here and the door numbers currently match, but I'm going to start over and say that my rooms are going to be 201. I'm going to renumber, and I'm going to click these rooms so I can renumber each one. So here 202, 203, 204, 205, 206. I'm going to go ahead and go down here and do this as well with these numbers down here. So again, just like we know in Revit, does not have the automatic numbering system. We could use the tool inside Renumbering for doors to take the room base, and I'll come back to this after I do the spreadsheet portion, the spreadsheet link. But I wanted to show you a cool formula that you can use with Spreadsheet Link. So I'm going to go into Spreadsheet Link, and I'm going to grab the doors category. I'm going to add that over. And then I'm going to grab the mark parameter for the door number and then also room. Now here Revit does not break apart the difference between room name and room number. So currently right now I'm only being able to grab room, which then distinguishes it as one complete element inside Spreadsheet Link. So this is an issue due to Revit not giving us that information as two separate fields. But one of the cool things you can do with Spreadsheet Link is you can do calculated values. So here I'm going to make mark a calculated value, and I can hide unit symbols just in case there's any kind of formulas or any kind of symbols. If it was square footage, you need to hide this so that it does the calculation correctly. Because if you try to do something like divide and multiply, it won't do it because it has that square footage in it. So you have to hide the unit symbol. Then over here, I'm going to say equals, and if there's a formula in Excel that you can do, which is just a formula in general, you can say right, which means it's going to read from the right of this cell. So I'm going to say equals right this cell. Then I got to put a comma and then how many rows or how many characters back do you want to go. So in this case I'm saying from the right, read back 4 characters. So right here the 4th character is that space. So I put that 4th character in because I have this 110C in here, so I put 4 characters so it would read that. But if your typical numbers are bigger than that, you might have to put in a bigger number. But you need to be careful about that too, because it'll put in that space as a character, so it might come in here and read out the E or something like that. But I'm only going to put 4, and then I'm going to close it off. As soon as I hit enter, all the rest of these will automatically grab that formula as well and take it down 1 number. So here this is D5, and that's because of using the calculate. It'll automatically throw that formula to every single room. So now that I have that here, see 208 matches the Office 208. Then I'm going to apply that back to the model. Duplicate mark values because some of them have 2 doors in the same room. So far there's not much I can do about that, but before I can do that, I'm going to save the settings as well. So once I put this formula in here, if I want to make sure that the door numbers match later, I'm going to save my settings to a file or to the project. I'm going to pick a settings file or give it a new name down here. I'm going to save it so that I can use this later. So I'll come back and reuse that settings later. So now I'm going to close out. Then back over here, if I go into this room, it matches 202, 203, and so on. Now these settings that I just used, I can reuse again. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to renumber my rooms one more time. And I'm going to renumber them 101 this time. Renumber. Click this room, and so on. As I go down here, I'm just going to go ahead and go down all the way down here as well. So here I renumbered them all back to just a 101. And again, the doors do not automatically take the room number. But now that I've saved those settings, I can use Spreadsheet Link Express to load those settings back. So I'm going to say Browse, pick my settings file, and hit Open, and then just apply settings. And since I saved the settings with a formula, it comes back and it will renumber those those doors here to match the room number. So it's not quite an automatic method. You still have to load settings, but it at least makes sure your doors are named after the room. So if you forget to renumber your doors, you can use this feature here with that formula to automatically do it. Now, in the combination of down here, for example, I had the 2 doors in the same room. There could be a formula that I could do potentially in Excel that would notice that there's 2 numbers the same. But in these scenarios here, if you have 500 doors and you only have to come back and renumber a couple of them, it may not be that big of a problem. But you could use, again, the renumbering feature of doing doors, room-based numbering, 2 room, and put in a suffix if I wanted a dash or a period or a comma or anything like that, and then say A, and then I could say renumber, pick this door, and it will automatically do the feature there. Now this is the Revit. I forgot to make a setting here of flipping the door to it's on the interior side, so this one technically is over here. Due to the Revit issue of when you flip a door, it doesn't automatically take this number. So I'd have to correct this door, and then it will do the auto number feature. So that is just one way to use Spreadsheet Link with door renumbering. But there's a lot of other things you could do with Spreadsheet Link with calculating stuff. For example, I'm going to do a formula here for the room occupancy. So I have a room occupancy load factor here, and I have a few other parameters for the occupancy and the occupant type. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that I created one before here. So I'm going to load some settings for the room occupancy. I'm going to show you the formula that I created. So here I added the rooms, and I have all these parameters here for the name and number, the occupant, occupancy, and apparent load factor, occupant load factor here. And then on this side, what I did was I created a formula for the occupant that looks back to this cell over here. So I have if C4 equals men's, then be bathroom. If it's C4 is women's, be bathroom. So that, down here I get this one, it says bathroom, and this is men's. So I wanted to make sure it said the same thing for the occupancy type, that it's a bathroom. These other ones I got open office and office because of the name over here. Then I created another formula for the occupancy load factor that I come over here and I gave it a really long formula. I edited this formula in Excel, so I did save this spreadsheet out to Excel. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that. I'm going to open this up in Excel. And then I'm going to click in this, and now you can see the formula that's going on here, that it's equals EF. If EF is lobby, round up H4 divided by 100. So I tried to take like a value of, if it's a lobby area, you can have more people in there, or if it's an office, I make it a smaller number. And I just try to make it a calculated value that based on a room occupancy, and it pulled back this value. So once I had that finished, it automatically pulled that out down to all these. And then I took the simple of the occupancy to say the round up is H4 divided by G4, and have it round to the nearest whole value, and it gives me this 23 here. So when doing that inside the Spreadsheet Link, and then applying back to the model, I can update these parameters whenever they need to change. So I already had that done here, but if I come down and I grab a room or wall here, I'm going to move that up. And that does not automatically change that number. But if I use Spreadsheet Link and I save those settings, so I already did that earlier, but I'm going to load those settings again, browse, select this and hit open, and apply settings. And what it will do is it will automatically update those 6 rooms. So now if I close this, select this room, that number has been changed to a higher value. So if all these rooms here as well have been updated as well, so they're a much bigger number than they used to be. So you can use that again to calculate values, because Excel has much easier formulas to do than inside Revit itself, because these parameters in here are just number parameters or text parameters that you cannot use a calculated value to give it. And so you can't schedule it, you can't tag it. So if you did a schedule parameter inside your rooms, you can't, or a calculate value, sorry, you can't tag that, or you can't see it in the room itself. It only shows up in a schedule. But if you do this spreadsheet link with the calculated values, then you can update that parameter automatically. Just by clicking the Spreadsheet Link Express, pick your settings, and it will just apply the settings for you instead of having to open the Spreadsheet Link, create those formulas, or open the settings and then apply it back. So that's the great thing about our Spreadsheet Link Express, is to load those settings back in again. Now the next tool I would talk about a little bit is the Quick Select. If those that have used AutoCAD's Quick Select inside AutoCAD, we have that same tool inside Revit for Quick Select. I've used this tool now a few times in just troubleshooting purposes of being able to select something based on another value. So for example, one I want to talk about right now is going to be selecting things based on a particular work set. One instance of BIM managers and project managers and just people in general inside a Revit model, of a work sharing model, that they have to deal with is things being on the wrong work set. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close this real quick, but there are tools in Revit that I can display what things are on particular work sets. I'm going to go to a furniture view here because I set up thing here where these are on the wrong work set. So I got this one on the wrong work set. I got this on the wrong work set, this on the wrong work set. So I got a lot of things on the wrong work set. I could go view by view by view, turning this setting on, grabbing these elements, switching their work set. You could do a select all instances thing, but there may be particular things you're looking for. So this is where Quick Select comes into play, that I can filter based on what I'm selecting. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab Furniture Systems, and then there's a work set parameter, and then I could say does not equal and pick the correct work set. So here I'm making sure it's you know, F to FE. So it does not equal this. So I'm going to update. I have 16 elements selected. So there are 16 furniture systems on the wrong work set. Then I could also come back in here and grab other things like doors, and I want to say that they're on the wrong work set. So I want to come down here and say work set does not equal architectural elements, and I'm going to add to selection. I'm going to update. There are 3 doors on the wrong work set. So with all of these selected, I can come in here and make sure what is going to be changed. So I'm going to uncheck doors temporarily, and then I'm going to hit OK. And now if I come over here, I can grab the work set and make sure they're on the correct work set. So again, this applies across the model, or it could be in the current view. We do have other settings in here for the project or the current selection or active view. Now we also have an option here for filters. Just wanted to make this aware that you can also use the filters that you're already in your project. So if you had a particular view filter and you wanted to select things based on that filter, you can use the filters here. Other things you could do is just grabbing particular elements and also knowing who they're owned by. So for example, I'm going to grab Furniture Systems again, and then there's the parameter edited by, and then equals, and I could drop down and see who picks this. So I'm going to say update selection. Now I see I have 16 elements are owned by this particular person. So if you needed to know who's owning something, or if someone owns a particular element, you can see how much they own throughout the entire model based on just who they edited by. So if I also say it does not equal not set, and I hit update or replace with selection, hit update, I'm going to have 16 things because they're not set, so they're blank. So if I also do this, I'm going to hit update, and it has 16 selected as well, so they have multiple things that are not edited. So it's a nice way to find things as well. I had just had a case the other day where we could not find a particular element in any view. There seemed to be an issue with Revit. So what I did was I came in, it was missing the curtain wall for some reason, so I came in here and grabbed walls, and I said type equals, and then I picked that type, and I hit up. I'm going to update the selection here so it's just the curtain wall, and it did actually select those elements in the model. Even though we could not see it in any view at all, and we turned on all the visibility settings, it just seemed to be an issue inside the Revit. So I clicked on this, found the selection, hit OK, and it did show it in the properties. Now here I do actually have a curtain wall there, so it is selecting it, but it was a nice troubleshooting tool to find something, is to be able to know a little bit about it. That way you can find it in the model. So again, we have in that tool all the categories that you might need to select something. So tags, doors, windows, columns, beams maybe at the wrong height or have an offset incorrectly. I know one couple of instances I've heard of is the beams are set to be with the wrong offset. They have I don't have any structural models in here, but they have the wrong Z offset, or they have a start and end offset that's incorrect. You can select based on that. So if you need to lower a lot of your beams, or select based on if they have a value, I want to select it. You can use this to filter that. I'm going to turn off my work sets here. And then the last little one I've has some tips about is Fab Sheets. I know this tool was mainly used for pour sequencing, that you can create a schedule of when things are going to be poured and things like that. But we've seen some other clients be using this for other reasons. And one of the things that I wanted to show is that when you come into this tool, you can first need to create a parameter or pick a parameter from your existing list. I'm going to go ahead and create one because this pops up with a parameter, and I'm going to give it a name here. So once you create this parameter, by default, it only is available for walls. But if you want to be able to pick other things or create it or use this tool for other purposes, what you could do is create the parameter, close out, and then go into your project parameters, find that parameter, and modify it. And if I come over here and I hide categories, these are the things it picks by default. But I can also come in here and pick other things. We've seen some clients be using these for duct cut sheets and things like this. So they will come in here and pick duct fittings and duct accessories. Other reasons you can use these for just kind of planning purposes. You can select furniture and create sheets based on a particular room. This tool has a lot of different functionality, but you have to pick these categories in order to be able to use the tool to pick that particular listing that you're looking for to create sheets, views, schedules, anything that you need to kind of like that kind of purpose of scheduling things, not just walls and columns. You can use it for other things as well. So after if I select that more elements in that parameter, then when I come back into Fab Sheets and I go to create my sequences, and when I go to add elements here, so I'm going to assign to elements, I can actually start to pick more elements than just walls. I did a duct and I don't have duct in here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to create using a furniture here. So I'm going to go into my manage project parameters, and I'm going to assign this to furniture system as well. So furniture system, and furniture, and hit OK. Now if I go back in here to Fab Sheets and say sequence, I'm going to pick the sequence I already have and I'm going to assign elements. Now I can come in here and pick furniture. So I can come in here and say that these furniture is going to be sequence 1 or increment 1, add an increment 2 and 3, and for 2 I'm going to assign these elements, and then for 3 I'm going to assign these elements. Oop, did not mean to pick the floor, but oh, there we go. So I'm finished. So with these being there, I can now create views based on these. So I'm going to create scope boxes for all 3 of these. And then I'm going to create views for all 3 of these. So I'm going to create a plan view, and I'm going to create an isometric view, and then I'm going to say create update views, and views were created. So now in my project, I will now have those types of views. If I go to my 3D views, there's the 3D view 1. Oh, that's not the right one. It must be under a different view set. There it is, code. Actually, I had the wrong view template applied. So now I don't have furniture turned on in this view, but I would be able to do that and to turn them back on. So it's just, again, another way to use Fab Sheets other than what it was normally used for, which just is concrete pour sequencing. You can use it for other things as well.